We're live. We're recording right now. It is Tuesday, August 6th. Big Ten preview. If you haven't checked out our other previews, go watch them right now. We got some team previews out on the YouTube as well. Go over there. We got the ACC. We got the Big 12 preview. SEC's coming up next. But today, Big Ten preview. Dylan, this is your conference.
Yeah, I own this conference. I've won this conference within the last, the 2020s, obviously. Not all teams can say that. I do want to say something real quick. You said August 5th, Tuesday, we're recording. What time is it, Karter?
It is extremely early.
I just want to get that out in the air before people say, "Oh, Dylan, you're high, your eyes are bloodshot. What are you smoking?" Well, because I'm going to say stuff about Ohio State. I'm going to say stuff about Michigan. That's obviously going to be one of the comments. It's 7:30. We all sipping on some bean juice. I know Connor's over there sipping on some bean juice.
No.
So that's one way to put it.
Kirkland signature over here.
There you go, Karter. Nice and healthy. Yeah, Big Ten, great conference. A little inside KarterKast. Connor, maybe just a conversation between you and I. Be careful what you say, because Comrade Karter will cut anything if you say anything mean about his third cousin's soaking partner's friend's wife.
Whoa.
Just be careful, Connor. If you say something, mean, he might cut it, because we had an issue with the Big 12.
The woke media wins again, Dylan. Anything that doesn't fit Karter rhetoric just gets sliced from the episode immediately.
My friends got their feelings hurt.
Saying. Okay, we can. I mean, we've had multiple.
No, don't tell me to. Don't tell me to say it now on the non-Big 12 preview.
No. I'm not going to say it. But then we've had multiple instances where I've gotten a text or a call after a show where people of this podcast have said, "I need that cut."
Sure, but voluntary censorship, like something I said. Something yes. I said, hey, cut that.
But
I said
but
that.
But what if I wanted to leave it in?
I don't think you have the right to decide that. Voluntary censorship is much different than involuntary censorship.
I think
we're going to be living in a dystopian society under Karter here soon.
It's like The Giver.
I think he was going through Adobe Premiere, slicing up this episode. Has full power.
I can't. You know what? That's tough to argue.
I'm just saying, if you have full creative control over the episode, it's
the
not everything's
part
gonna
is
be left in.
I don't think I cut out the second part where you talked about it.
I don't even remember. I just remember listening through and I was like, huh, that's not in there. All good, all fun. Real quick before we get into it, do we want to, 7:30, it's early. Do we want to get off a fit check maybe real quick? Karter, what are you wearing right now? What are you wearing today?
A hoodie.
You got a nice little beige hoodie, the staple gray Nike hat. Karter, what fit check? Bardstown?
Little beige Lululemon shirt here, and
nice.
then Bardstown Bourbon Company. Just took a trip to Louisville, Kentucky. Shout out the Bourbon Trail.
Louisville Slugger Museum. Was that a stop?
It was a walk past it, but not stop.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about all you need if you're not a baseball fan. Fit check for me, my 2023 national champions, without a doubt. That was the year that we didn't lose a game. No scandals, the cleanest national championship in history, and then obviously it was played in Houston, so the HOU is highlighted. But just that, my other national championship shirts, it has all the games on it, then the scores. We won all of them, and that one's in my closet. But just quick fit check for the people before we get into the Big Ten championship. I'm doing great. I'm very excited.
It is too early for this, though. I'll be honest. I'm a let's record at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. type guy.
But isn't that technically early?
No, that's late.
Well, it's morning.
No. What?
You disagree. Well, it'll get cut. We'll cut it. Yeah, we'll cut it.
We're not cutting that.
Yeah, we'll cut it.
I think early is officially 5 a.m. Everything before that's late.
Is it crazy to say that I think early and late contrasted is subjective to when you go to bed? Like
I think that's valid.
I don't know. This felt pretty early, but I'm also an early riser, and normally it wouldn't be. I don't know. Maybe it depends what you're doing too. A road trip, 4 o'clock isn't that early to get up and go on a road trip, I think. But 4 o'clock is early to get up and record a Big Ten preview.
4 o'clock's early no matter what.
It's only early if you wake up and your eyes hurt. That's my rule.
What if you just went to bed? You only 2 hours of sleep. And
I don't make the rules, Carter.
Yeah,
I'm just saying what the rule is.
I can tell you who does make the rules.
I can tell you who
Karter
does
does.
make the rules because I'm cutting all this out. This is terrible. I'm just kidding. Let's do a Big Ten preview. Let's go. Do we want to do a little preview first, talk about the conference, or do we want to roll right into the teams?
I did want to ask real quick, do we want to have any sort of discourse about the AP poll before we get into or the coaches poll?
No, because I will about the AP, but not the coaches.
Okay. All right.
Because I don't think
Yeah.
the coaches one matters at all.
Yeah. They're all dumb anyway.
Mm,
Except BYU's coach. Except BYU's coach.
Except any Big 12 coaches.
Yeah.
Don't want to upset anybody in that conference. Might not get a media poll.
Do we want to do another Inside KarterKast here?
I don't care.
Sure.
I just will say this. There has been multiple instances, even on this show, not just the other show I do, where I have gotten texts from people in the athletics department at BYU.
Get
Just
over
want that
it.
out there.
Sorry, buddy.
Even about you, Dylan.
Buddy, you think I care? I'm not. Okay. I'm gonna make
Is
people.
that that
I'm gonna
guy
make
that
people
said-
mad.
Is that guy that said Texas wouldn't score 10 points on Michigan? Yeah, that's him.
Now you said texts about this show. Good things.
Good and bad.
Okay. Well, there we go. See, batting 500, that'll get you in the Hall of Fame.
But
Get you in the
if
Louisville
you're
Slugers Hall of
If
Fame.
you're batting like 100 and I'm batting
Yeah.
900, do we both
Well-
get in the Hall of Fame, or am I like carrying you into the Hall of Fame?
Here's the question though: my 100, is that 1 out of 10 home runs, or is that 1 out of 10 singles? I'm gonna say it's probably 1 out of 10 home runs.
What if it's
a little more value.
What if mine's 6 out of 10 home runs and 3 out of 10 singles?
Then you're the GOAT. Step
Hey,
aside, Barry Bonds.
there
Are you on
we go.
steroids?
Kinda, yeah. That's why I'm censoring.
Steroids and censorship. KarterKast staple.
All right, let's do this.
Print it.
Do we want to do teams? Anything about the conference before we get right into the teams?
What's the overall state of the conference this year? I feel like I saw a lot of, pretty high win totals. I don't know. How you feel about the Big Ten, Dylan? This is your conference.
Yeah, going through some of these teams, I think, and this is kind of, I've echoed this in other conference previews, we are now starting to see the effect of NIL for everybody, where it almost feels like expectations are more dispersed amongst all of the teams rather than just like the top 2 teams from Big Ten, top 2 teams from the SEC, top 2 teams from every conference. And we saw that with the Big 12 mostly, but I even think, like, I don't know, Michigan, 8.5 win total, right? Ohio State, 10.5 wins, which is high. Obviously, Penn State's is high. But, like, Oregon, I think, is going to take a step down. It seems like we're getting more parity the further we get from allowing all of the teams and all of the schools to participate in this NIL game, which I think is inherently a good thing. And the people that said that this was going to happen whenever the NIL stuff, because when this NIL stuff started happening, it was like, oh, well, the richer teams are just going to keep, it's the Alabamas are going to rule the world even more, and the schools that have no money aren't. That is not happening. It's the complete opposite. So I think it's good just for the state of college football in general. And I think we're going to see when we start talking about these Big Ten teams, there are more teams that are going to be in the mix than just the top dogs, which is great to see for as a college football fan.
I agree. I think it's a pretty wide open Big Ten, especially compared to years past. Last year, it felt like there were a couple at the top. You could say a little Penn State there. And then before that, it was Michigan, Ohio State. I feel like this could be anybody's conference at this point, just depending on how you feel about maybe Penn State. Nobody knows about Ohio State with a quarterback situation, but there are a lot of high win totals in this conference, though.
And the thing is, if you even look at it from a quarterback standpoint, who's the second? You want to say Drew Allar's probably the best proven quarterback in this conference. Who's number 2 at that point?
Dude,
Allmeyer?
Spoiler. I was going to say, yeah, go to Illinois. Yeah. Which is crazy to say.
Allmeyer.
And they're not even, and they're what, 7th in the Big Ten title odds or something like that? Yeah, it's a crapshoot.
Ranked, I know we're not doing the coach. They're 14th in the coaches poll, or 12th. They're 12th in the coaches poll. Like that's
Illinois.
Yeah, and I like Illinois this year. We'll get into it. Shout out Jagan, shout out Dad. They're gonna love what I have to say about Illinois. But to be 12th in the coaches poll, and then I'm looking at the odds here, 6th, 40-1 to win the Big Ten. Like,
yeah,
crazy stuff. And you're right, Luke Altmaier. Probably the second best quarterback in this conference.
Yeah. Let's roll right into it. Let's start this Big Ten preview. Ohio State, their win total right now I'm seeing is 10.5. They went 14-2 last year. lost to Oregon, lost to some other team in the Big Ten, won the national championship. Ryan Day got the national championship under his belt. Hasn't gotten the Michigan monkey off his back yet. They come back. They're plus 190 to win this conference, and nobody knows really who their quarterback is. It looks like it's going to be Julian Sayin, but we haven't seen their quarterback play once, and they're only plus 190 to win this conference. Dylan, the floor is yours with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Your alma mater.
Yeah, graduate. I have the degree. Hold on.
Yeah, this is great podcasting right now. Just sitting here talking.
For those of you that are listening audio only, I have my college degree right here, Ohio State University. Found out this year I get to play their golf course as an alumni. It's a private course I get to play.
What are you going to wear?
I still have to pay. I'm wearing my Michigan polo. I already decided it. I'm wearing my Michigan polo. They still charge like $130. Ohio
Wexner's
State
going to ban you for that.
Wexner's got bigger problems right now. We got presidents not releasing files. Wexner's got bigger problems than me playing his golf course. Yeah, the Ohio State Buckeyes, good year last year, decent year. I mean, you win the national. It's very rare that you get to a team like Ohio State gets to check off all the boxes, right? We win national championship, check. We win the Big Ten. Well, at least they made the Big Ten title game, right? Well, we didn't get to do that. Okay. Well, we beat our rival that we were 21, but we didn't get to do that. So a lot of Ohio State, Ryan Day gets the contract for life. We've done this song and dance before. Ohio State fans have seemed over the course of the offseason to cope with that. They usually don't around Thanksgiving time. But as for this team, as much as I like to rib them, they did win the national championship, 2 lost national champions. Returning players, you obviously have Jeremiah Smith. You have Caleb Downs coming back. Sonny Style is a great defensive asset. You have Julian Sayin. I say coming back. He didn't play last year, but he is within the program. He was with the program last year. My biggest question is, if Julian Sayin was that good of a quarterback, what you think he would have played somewhere by now? You think he would have had valuable snaps somewhere at any point?
I mean, not
Last year
necessarily.
was his first year, right?
The first year at Ohio State, yeah. So that's fair. But, I mean, you think if he was that good, he, maybe would not have been willing to sit behind Will Howard? You think maybe he would have gotten more time at Alabama?
Maybe that just speaks to the culture at Ohio State, to get a guy like that to sit for 1 year.
I mean, you got Lincoln Kineholz, who's been there for 4.
Are you gonna pull this on the Texas preview when you're like, Arch Manning? If he was that good, he would have started over Quinn Ewers.
Well, it's a little different, right? Because he's been at Texas his whole time. It's not like he was at another school and transferred in and transferred out and all that. He's been at Texas the whole time. It's a little different.
I don't know the Julian Sayin recruiting stuff. I don't dive into college football recruiting at all. Maybe he just got more money in Columbus.
And that's more than fair, right? And then you got to ask, do you want that kind of guy like that on your team? Worth asking. Key losses, obviously. You lose Will Howard, Travion Henderson, Quinshawn Judkins. Someone's on record saying this guy's an overall bad man. I don't know who that is, but that was proven, right? Beating women left and right. Emeka Egbuka, Jack Sawyer, all leave, right? And as much as I like to rib on them, they were all good players. You get Tavian St. Clair in, who may see time on the field. He's a highly touted recruit. I think Max Clare, tight end from Purdue, another great option for a receiving core. The problem that I'm going to see here is you have Jeremiah Smith, good receiver, right? I like my receivers to catch with 2 hands, but good receiver. But then, like, Cardinal Tate and Brandon Ennis on the receiving core don't really do it for me in terms of what Ohio State has had in the past in terms of wide receivers 2 and 3. That's Ohio State's bread and butter, is their wide receiver Brian Hartline has been great in that position. I think he'll be great as an offensive coordinator. But this wide receiver room is a step down from what we normally see at Ohio State. And that wide receiver room is what propels the quarterbacks that Ohio State has had, right? Because we've seen talent come through at the wide receiver position and elevate the quarterback. I don't see the same from this wide receiver room outside of Jeremiah Smith.
So
in terms of years past, it's not the same.
I think Jeremiah Smith is that good.
But he was there. But think about the drop off from Egbuka to Carnell Tate, and then the drop off from wide receiver 3 to Brandon Ennis. Like that, I think that is kind of Jeremiah Smith. I like to joke. Jeremiah Smith is one of the best receivers in college football. But
let's say Jeremiah Smith takes another leap, though. He's going to be the best receiver in college football this year.
I think. Okay, about the leap, I don't know if he can. I think the ceiling can't be that much higher than what we saw last year. I don't think.
We don't know. I mean, he was a freshman. True freshman.
Towards the end of the year, we did see teams start throwing so many guys on him. It was just do it with someone else.
Are you not more concerned about the running back position with this team?
The running back position.
That's where I'm looking. I mean, you can say what you want about Judkins and then Travion Henderson last year. That's an elite running back duo from last year, and now you're running with C.J. Donaldson in the backfield. I like C.J. Donaldson. He was a fine Big 12 back. Playing at Ohio State and supposed to be on the best team in the country, now I don't know how much I love C.J. Donaldson at that point.
I think that's fair. Connor, you go ahead. I've talked enough.
It's fun. Well, I feel like I've heard Dylan say the name Carnell Tate probably 100 times over the last 2.5 seasons. I don't know why it just sticks out to me. Well, he'll be a fine number 2 option. As much as you like to rip on him, I think he'll be okay as a number 2 for Ohio State this year. My biggest concern, Julian Sayin, I mean, the talent's there. He's a former 5-star recruit. He has 12 pass attempts in his career. 12 pass attempts. And for a guy like that, who's young, who's going to get his first true start this year on the biggest stage for a team with a 10.5 win total with national champion repeat aspirations, I'm not entirely sure I trust him to hit the ground running right off the bat. A guy like Will Howard last year, college football experience, he comes in, you know the talent's there, it's proven. That's a guy that's played college football for a long time. This is going to be different for Ohio State. This is a different ball game with basically a first-year quarterback in getting his first starts. And, Jeremiah Smith, best receiver in college football, but outside of that, he's the only guy. He's one out of the 4 guys last year who had 750 scrimmage yards that returns. Travion Henderson gone. Quinshon Judkins gone. Egbuka gone. Are these weapons good enough to elevate Julian Sayin in those first few weeks of his college football career for the most part?
And
that's
especially week 1. They start off. Exactly. It's not like you get to play Akron this year, or you get to play a bunch of nobodies to start the season. You got to go play Texas, who might be the best team in the country for all we know. So I agree with Connor.
Yeah.
I just think there's too many questions about this Ohio State team. A lot of turnover in the key positions. I like Jeremiah Smith. I like Caleb Downs, but I don't know about your quarterback. I don't know about your running back situation, which the running back situation has to be worse. The quarterback situation, I'd imagine, is worse. I don't feel great about this Ohio State team this year. Plus, you don't have an easier non-conference. You got to play Texas. You got to play Penn State. At Illinois is not an easy game. At Michigan, no matter what you say, is not an easy game. I'm not in on this Ohio State team this year. I don't think they're. I think they're fine. I think they're 9-3, 10-2.
Wow.
But I don't think they're going to be going undefeated by any means.
So let me ask this. I think you took the words right out of my mouth. The running back room is a huge problem. I always thought Travion Henderson was the better back in that backfield, and that wasn't. I don't have any more contempt for Judkins than I do Henderson as an Ohio State hater, but I always thought Henderson was the better back there. But you take away both of them, and like you said, I have the depth chart up here. It says James Peoples is going to be running back number 1, C.J. Donaldson running back number 2. Agree with that 100%. I think the biggest thing that we're going to ignore is this defense. And you have Sonny Styles, who's great. You have Caleb Downs, who's great.
Matt Patricia coaching this defense.
That is a huge problem. And of course, you can say, well, he helped run the defense for the Patriots under Belichick, but he also
Alaska defense.
He helped run the defense in 23 under Sirianni in Philadelphia. And listen, if you're going to ask me, is Ryan Day more of a Belichick or is he more of a Sirianni? I want to say he's probably more of a Sirianni than a Belichick. That's just going to be my personal opinion there. So you have these questions where it's like the defense, you look here, either you have a lot of returners or people coming in from within the program. I don't think that's bad. I think we're severely underestimating the effect that Jim Knowles had on this defense. He came in 2021. It took a year, there's a bit of a learning curve, some growing pains, but he got this defense right. And if people are expecting Matt Patricia to come in and have this defense looking the way that it did the last 2 years, I think Ohio State fans are going to be in for a very rude awakening. And not to mention, I'm going to say the name wrong, Igbinosun. Ignabosin, however you say it, PI merchant. He's just the biggest PI merchant I've ever seen. He's Denzel Burke on steroids. So you have a couple key pieces there on the defense, but I think this defense is going to take a huge step back from what it's been the last 2 years. And it's going to be more, it's almost going to be more like Ohio State football of 2017 to 2021, but with a worse offense, is what I'm guessing. I think, Karter, you're exactly right. 9 wins is probably more realistic than the upper echelon of 11 or 12.
They led the country last year in opponent yards per game and opponent points per game. So I agree that this defense is going to take a step back. I'm not sure how large it'll be, but yeah, they're replacing 8 guys drafted in the top 174 picks in the NFL draft. That's a lot of high-end talent that went pro last year. And a guy like Jim Knowles, I think you're right. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did. The talent was there. The veteran leadership was there. Don't get me wrong. But I think he did a lot for this defense. And Matt Patricia, I just feel like that's a name we keep hearing. Like, oh, Matt Patricia's back on the sideline. Am I supposed to be excited about that? I don't know. And Caleb Downs is fine. He'll be a strong point. As a UNC guy, Bo Atkinson at one of the defensive end spots. He was solid at Carolina. I think he had like 7.5 sacks last year. Solid player in the ACC. Upper echelon player in the ACC. But in terms of talent and depth and leadership, especially on that defensive line where they lost a ton, I think you guys are right. This defense is going to take a step back, and I'm not entirely confident the offense is going to make up for that. So I'm with you guys. I think 9-3 is spot on.
Now, a 9-3 season with a win at Michigan is all. I think that's a successful season in Ryan Day's mind.
The rhetoric will be, we got some growing pains with Julian saying, but we beat Michigan, so all is right in Columbus. They can miss the playoff and beat Michigan, and they'll be thrilled. Nobody will be calling for Ryan Day's job. Nobody will have him on the hot seat if that happens.
Oh, yeah. And that's the bar. Like, at this point, that is the bar for Ohio State. It's like the one thing they can't do is beat Michigan. And that. Honestly, if you had an Ohio State fan come on here and say 1-11, we beat Michigan, it's a winning season. That is,
we joke, but
it's the standard.
It's not far off.
No, that is the standard for the Buckeyes. And that's like, more power to you. Just come off a national championship, all you're thinking about is beating Michigan. It's beautiful to see, and I understand. I've done my real analysis. Ohio State 9 wins probably. The defense is going to take a step back. I love seeing it. I went to the Crocs store yesterday, right, to get Crocs for my little cousin for her birthday. Guess what? They had Michigan gibbets. This is in This is 20 minutes from campus. They had Michigan gibbet. That is how bad it's gotten in Columbus. Is like you can't not have Michigan gibbets at the mall.
You know what also bothers me about all this because I think every single Ohio State person forgets how they felt right after they lost to Michigan. Because the national championship happened. And look, if I'm a sports fan, I would rather win a national championship than beat my rival. If Duke lost to Carolina both times in a season, but we won the national title, do not care. Give me the national title 10 times out of 10.
Agree.
But Ohio State and Michigan fans build up this rivalry so much that Ohio State fans, it caused them to crumble and put themselves in this terrible position. And it just pisses me off that it was kill Ryan Day. I want Ryan Day dead. Done. We're done with Ryan Day. And then 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, lifetime contract. He's the greatest coach ever. What's going to happen? What's going to happen if Bryce Underwood and this Michigan team beat Ohio State this year?
I think it'll be more of the same. Like the 2 weeks of, oh, Ryan Day's the worst, oh, fire Ryan Day. But then, if they find themselves in the Big Ten championship, if they find themselves in the playoffs, if they pull something off.
Let's say they miss the playoffs and they lose to Michigan.
They will be calling for his job immediately.
I think they'll be calling for Ryan Day, but I think there will be some, because honestly, I think we're all kind of on the same boat here. This is what a down year looks like for Ohio State. So there might be some voices that come in and say, okay, well, yeah, we didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, we lost to Michigan again, but this is not an Ohio State team that we're used to having. I think maybe there will be some voices of reason. I don't think Ryan Day with the national championship has secured a job until the 2030s, I think. Unless something crazy like 500 seasons start happening, as long as he's a 9-10 win coach, I think he's secured his job for a while. They'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Unless there's a Norvell situation where all of a sudden he's 2-10 and can't run the ball.
barring anything like that, but it's very, very interesting.
Can I rattle off something about Ryan Day real quick, guys?
Please do.
First, I forget where I saw this stat. I loved it, though. It might have been that Bill Connolly article. I don't know. I love that article. First 80 games coaching in college football. And actually, no, it wasn't from that article. I know where it was from. First 80 games in college football. Nick Saban, 67-13. Dabo, 55-25. Kirby, 65-15. Ryan Day in his first 80 games, 70-10. Dylan, 70-10.
How many of those losses came to Michigan?
What is? How many
that's at least 40%.
4? Yeah, 40%
of his losses have been to Michigan.
So he's 70-10, and next up is Saban at 67-13. That's pretty damn good. The problem is Urban Meyer was 72-8 in his first 80 games, 7-0 versus Michigan. That's what he's following up. That's all people see. But you take a step back and look at it from the non-Michigan loss glasses, 70-10 in your first 80 games, and I think only one of those is against an FCS opponent. Saban definitely played a few of those. Objectively, that's pretty damn good. However, I do agree with what you guys are saying. If it's another loss to Michigan, I don't know. That's going to be tough for Ryan Day, especially if they're not in the playoff.
I was thinking about this last night, just with the poll coming out, and I got something to mention about the poll again, actually. Ohio State fans, when you think about dynasties within the last 10, 15 years, I mean, Ohio State, outside of the 2011 Luke Fickell year, I mean, Ohio State is one of the colleges, universities that have had it the best in college football. Like, you go from Urban Meyer, like, one of the more spoiled fan bases, I think, gets slept on because it's not Alabama, it's not Georgia. One of the more spoiled fan bases in all of football. And I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing, but you're exactly right. To get Ryan Day to come in and go 70-10 in his first 80 games, and it's still poo-pooed on because it's not good as Urban Meyer's 72-8. Like, you know, I'm not going to deny it. Ohio State's, they've been a powerhouse ever since I've been in high school, pretty much.
It's just a tough act to follow. The Urban Meyer stuff is a tough act to follow for anybody. Ask Kalen DeBoer and Bama how it feels to follow Nick Saban, but I don't know. He's done a pretty damn good job, objectively.
He really has. And no joking aside. Before I have one more thing to say as we wrap up serious analysis. Does anybody have any more serious analysis?
Go for it.
We're sitting here, Coach. I'm sitting in the bedroom with my wife, Abby, and this is not a slam on Abby. This is just a slam on Ohio State fans in general. We're sitting there. The coaches poll comes out. I said, "Oh, Abby, coaches poll's out. Who, where do you think Ohio State is?" And she said something like 3 or 4. I said, "No, they're number 2." And she said, "Always counting us out." I was like, "Oh yeah, you pesky Buckeyes, all those underdogs, not ranked number 1 in the coaches poll. That's the stuff I can't hate. I can't stand. Ohio against the world, you pesky underdogs, those Buckeyes."
Well, isn't it Michigan versus everybody like 2 years ago?
Well, everybody wanted us crucified like Jesus, upside down, because allegedly we had a guy on our sidelines that was able to decode signals. Like, yeah, it was us against the world. People wanted us dead.
Gosh.
People wanted Connor Stallions hung on the cross because he was an ex-Marine, and that sounds pretty crazy to me.
Dylan's pulling no punches here. He woke up, Karter. We're not at 7:30 anymore.
I'm up now. It's 8 a.m. now.
In that analogy, are you calling Connor Stallions Jesus?
I'm not. I'm just saying.
I know what you are saying.
People wanted him dead. People
he
wanted
rose the Michigan
him
football
dead.
program from the dead.
Hey, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Oh
let's
my
go
gosh. Let's go
to Penn State. Penn State, they are plus 240 to win this conference. I feel like honestly they're the real favorite in this conference. They have a lot of the returning production. They bring in all these new receivers for Drew Aller. Tyler Warren gone. I know that's a big deal. Some big guys are gone on the defense. But this is all about 2 people, Drew Aller and James Franklin. Can they get it done in a year with no excuses? This is it. This is the moment Penn State football has been building up to for years now, and it is now or never. In my mind, it is national title or bust for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Connor, what do you feel about Penn State this season?
I think you're right. For everything to line up like this, to get this much returning production on the offensive end, both your backs, Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, are back from last year after having 2,700 yards, 27 total touchdowns. They led the Big Ten in rushing last year. Drew Aller's back. This is the year for Drew Aller. And the rest of the conference is, I don't want to say a toss-up, but this is their best shot to win in a while, I would say. Like, the rest of this Big Ten conference is beatable. And for us to sit here and say Penn State's probably the favorite because of all the questions with Ohio State, that's not something we usually say about Penn State. And you look at James Franklin, the last 3 years, Penn State is 34-2 as a favorite, 27-0 as a 6+ point favorite, 0-6 as an underdog. That's the story every single year with this Penn State team. Can they get over the hump? And we'll dive into it. 4 offensive line starters are back from that conference-leading rushing attack. The wide receiver group gets an overhaul. Their top returning receiver, I think, is Liam Clifford, who had 18 catches. But 3 new starters there, led by Kyron Hudson from USC. I think this is the year for Penn State. The non-con's a joke. Nevada, FIU, Villanova. The only thing with this is, guys, Drew Aller can't just be a top 20, top 15, pretty good quarterback, above average quarterback. Drew Aller has to take that next step to be a top 5 quarterback and push this Penn State team over the top. Otherwise, their ceiling is 1 college football playoff win. That's what it is. Unless Drew Aller ascends to that top 5, top 6 quarterback in the country and pushes them over the top, which I think this is the year to do it. So this is my Big Ten winner as Penn State this year. I'm buying in. This is the year for them. I'm going to say 10-2, maybe 11-1. But even if they're 10-2, I like them to win this conference.
It's kind of hard to argue for the Big Ten because you're comparing them to these other teams. Every other team has a massive unknown at the quarterback position,
right?
Unless you go to the Fighting Illini in Champaign, Dylan. But they're kind of the safest bet in this conference, in my opinion, Dylan.
I'm kind of in lockstep with you guys. And this is, I think, the biggest conversation that is going to be had about Penn State is what is required from James Franklin in order to obtain this job security. And I've always been very staunch believer in college football, you do have so many people at the top, and when you play in the Big Ten, which historically has had good Michigan teams, Ohio State's been the top dog, you get Oregon that comes in and was good last year, it is tough to be in that mix often. Sometimes it's just variance. It's not a coaching thing, it's not a talent thing, it's just there are so many teams in the mix, what are you going to do? But it does feel like this year, I'm not going to go quite as far to say you need a national championship in order to vilify things at Happy Valley, but I think winning the Big Ten almost has to be the bare minimum. Or making the playoffs, getting in the playoff. And I understand that's kind of similar to what they did last year, but I think if you can replicate that success, that is almost the bar that needs to be met. But James Franklin is by far the coach with the most, I say the most on the line. I don't think his job's at risk. It just feels like he's the one coach this year that needs that national championship breakout or that playoff run breakout. That's personally what I believe.
I don't think his job's on the line at all. Unless he did a Mike Norvell and went 2-10, like some disastrous thing like that. But no, I don't even think this comes down to James Franklin as much. I think this is all on Drew Aller. Because, let's be honest, name one time Drew Aller has played well against a big-time opponent. He hasn't. He's never played well against a big-time opponent. Not once.
And this is, I'm telling you, with this year, with both running backs back, they're still going to lean on that run game. He's not going to be asked to do everything for this Penn State team.
Yeah.
So he has to do more with what he's given. They didn't take a lot of downfield shots last year.
When you play against these other big-time opponents, that's my problem with the quarterback conversation. We talk about this with these guys with limited ceilings is that in these bigger games, in these big-time moments, you have to have a quarterback that can do it. You have to have a quarterback that can make the big-time throws. And he's played in these big-time games over and over and over again and has not done it once.
I think my one reservation about Penn State, we talked about the offensive line, bringing back the returners. This is a fine run-blocking offensive line. Pass blocking, they were 88th, I think, in their pass block rate. And I think Drew Aller does start to feel some of the effects of that. And I don't think that's going to get much better this year. That's my one piece of contention. The run game's going to be strong. You overhaul the wide receiver room, which has always been an issue at Penn State. But this defense, let's keep in mind, Jim Knowles took a lateral movement to come in and run this defense. A defense that it's not like he's going into Ohio State and overhauling a bad defense like he did in 2021. He's coming into Penn State, and he's got stuff to work with already. So this is going to be interesting. I think you're right. But I also don't know if like you said, Connor, Drew Aller might not be asked to put on Heisman-level performances. I think it's just going to be defense.
He doesn't need to. We're not asking for Heisman level. I'm asking for above average in these big games. I mean, go back through all these big-time games and go through it. He's been bad. He's just been flat out bad in these big moments. Ohio State, 12 of 20, 146, no touchdowns, interception. You want to go QBR? He had a 32.7 QBR in that game. Notre Dame, 12 of 23, 135 in the air, no touchdowns, 1 interception. That's not good enough.
I think I don't have the data on hand. I wish I did. I would lean towards maybe that's not as much of a talent issue on Drew Eller's part, but more so the offensive line. Because this wasn't a great pass-blocking offensive line. He never had any weapons at wide receiver, ever. His top receiver
let's not pretend Tyler Warren was some bum.
Carter, why don't you let me finish, buddy, okay? Listen, you're cutting stuff. Tyler Warren was a great pass-catching option. He had no wide receivers. He was Julian Fleming. That was his what we're doing here. So I understand what you're saying about Drew Aller. What I'm saying is, even if he has an average year, this defense is going to be amazing. The run game is going to be amazing. I think that is going to be enough to put them in contention for a Big Ten championship. I think that's going to be enough to put them in contention for a national championship. However, I am wagering on the fact that Drew Aller is going to continue to get better because he has continued to get better every year he's been a starter at Penn State. So the offensive line's an issue. That's my one piece of contention with Penn State. You return a lot of guys, not a great pass blocking unit, but I love this Penn State team. They're my pick to win the conference.
Has he gotten better year to year?
He has gotten better year to year. Let's take a look.
Because I feel like it was from 23 to 24, it was kind of about the same.
About a plateau.
It didn't get worse.
It was the same.
Yeah, but the same as an 86, 87 PFF grade. The same isn't
but
2,000 yards and a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
But that's what I've been saying. That's the problem. He's making his grades. He's stat padding his grade against Northwestern, against UMass, against these random crap schools that you play, or the bottom of the barrel in the Big Ten. Guess what? His grade plummets when you go against Ohio State, Michigan, any other good team.
That's a crazy concept. You play worse against better teams.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
Play the breaking news noise for KarterKast.
That's what I'm saying though. I would understand. We've had 2-year sample size of this. He's played in 5-6 big time games against bigger opponents. And guess what? How come he hasn't done it once? One time win as an underdog. One time step up into these big games against Ohio State, Michigan, even Oregon. Step up once. Notre Dame, step up once and win that game. He hasn't done it once, and he hasn't looked good in those games once.
He's had no receivers. He's never had any receivers. Outside of Tyler Warren, he's never had them. And listen, this year, we got 3 new guys here.
I can agree with the wide receiver point, but that's kind of what I'm saying is James Franklin. I don't think his job or any of that should be in question. I know that's going to be the narrative in the media of James Franklin jokes again, whatever. I think it's really on Drew Aller.
I think that's fair. I don't think that's crazy, but I also don't think that you're talking about these drop-offs between playing the better team. It's not like he's going from being a 90-rated quarterback to a 40-rated quarterback.
He kind of is.
He isn't. It's 70s. It's 75s. It isn't like he just shows up and he's the worst quarterback in the world. And given that, he hasn't even had the weapons. He hasn't had the offensive line. Now, I don't think he has the offensive line this year, but I seriously think that this is a team. Give me the Big Ten. I love the defense. The offensive line is going to be an issue. You at least make an effort to solve some wide receiver issues. Mm-hmm. I love this Penn State team. I did Drew Aller for Heisman as well. I did it.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
The thing is, you guys talk about the weapons, and I think that's a very fair point, but if Penn State's down 4 points with 90 seconds left, and they can't run the ball, they have to throw the ball down the field 80 yards, you going to trust Drew Aller this year or not? Because that's going to be the difference in them winning a national title or making the playoff and losing in the first round.
So here's an interesting question. Who in the Big Ten would you trust more? What quarterback in the Big Ten would you trust more to make those throws?
And that's my point, and that's why Penn State's my winner. And it's not because
I think that's very
and it's because it's the safest bet. They don't have to play Michigan. They play at Ohio State, and then they play home Oregon. But to be honest, we'll get into Oregon here in a minute. I'm not a big Oregon fan this year. It's an easy non-conference. Honestly, anything less than 10-2 in the regular season is a massive disappointment in my mind. This team should be at minimum 11-0, even flirting with being undefeated, even though I don't think they're winning the national championship.
I think that's fair. And losing Tyler Warren, don't get me wrong, sucks on all levels. Losing Tyler Warren sucks, but I think the new weapons at wide receiver kind of offset that. I think that's going to make up for it, make it not sting as much. And the defense, another UNC guy, Maury Campbell, linebacker, another bright spot for the Tar Heels last year.
Does every team have a UNC guy on a bad UNC defense?
There was probably like 3 or 4 guys on that Carolina defense that I think can make some waves somewhere else. But he was pretty damn good last year at linebacker, outside linebacker.
81.3 pass rush grade.
Yeah, no, he was good. I think he had, I wrote down the stats. He had 11.5 sacks, or no. I don't know what he had last year. He was good, though. 6.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss. That's what it was.
Somehow, someway, everybody's just like, so we got this Carolina defender, Jamari Judkins, and yeah, he had 7.5 sacks last year, and I really like him from this Carolina defense. I'm like, I thought this Carolina defense gave up 70 points to JMU. What are we talking about here?
They did, and some injuries. You know, Matt Brown coach team.
Yeah, it was a Mac Brown coach team. We had Joe Biden at the wheel in Carolina.
No, but yeah, last thing on Penn State. How about Jim Knowles, Dylan, leaving the Buckeyes off a national championship, going in conference to take the same position? What?
Lateral move.
What happened? Yeah.
Lateral
I don't know what happened there.
Trouble in paradise in Columbus.
Writing on the wall. He saw the writing on the wall.
You know, Epstein file's about to be released. I need to get out of here.
Oh, man.
Penn State, that was some good. That was good Penn State stuff. We probably need to be a little quicker on some of these because we got a hard out today. Let's go to Oregon. Let's go to Oregon right now. Their win total, I believe, is 10.5 on FanDuel right now. Dante Moore is the starting quarterback for the Oregon Ducks this season. Dan Lanning coming off. Weirdly, it was a very good season, and then it just ended in the most sour way after losing their rematch in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. 13-0 in the regular season. Dylan Gabriel gone. I'll start here. Extremely, extremely out on this Oregon team, and by far and away my most overrated team in this conference.
Not a Dante Moore guy, huh? Didn't like his freshman season at UCLA 2 years ago? Didn't like that?
Not a Dante Moore kind of guy. I think, look, I wasn't the biggest Dylan Gabriel fan, but Dylan Gabriel did give you stability. He gave you experience, and he fit that offense very well. Look, Dante Moore, freshman year at UCLA, honestly, I'd be fine if you say it was a wash. Didn't like what I saw. I feel like that's a pretty steep drop-off at that point. You return basically nobody on both sides of the ball at this point. I think it's going to be a tough year for them. The schedule lines up kind of okay for them. I mean, at Penn State, at Iowa is not ideal, but I'm out on Oregon. I don't think they're a national championship contender, and I would go under on their win total as well. I think this is kind of a retooling year for Oregon.
Go ahead.
What you got, Dan Lanning? That's what this is. What do you have in the tank in terms of coaching? Because you're right. A lot of your guys are gone. You have Dante Moore that comes in. You lose Dylan Gabriel. This offensive line situation is going to be interesting because that's why I loved Oregon so much last year. And the offensive line was pretty good, but now you're kind of retooling that. You have 3 guys that transfer in. For me, I agree with what you said, Carter. I'm not as high on Oregon as I was last year, and I was pretty high on them. I would lean under on the win total, and I think this year is going to say a lot about Dan Lanning more so than Oregon as a whole. It's going to be, can you get the guys together? I think really 10 wins, if you tell me Oregon has 10 wins, which is even under their win total, I'm going to say, okay, good year for Oregon.
100% agree. 100% agree, especially if he can resurrect a guy like Dante Moore. Look, 5-star grade and all this stuff, but we saw that freshman year at UCLA. It was not pretty, but hey, he also hasn't played real football in 2 years.
This is also interesting. You know how I am with the new conferences, having to go across the country. You're at Penn State, you're at Rutgers, you're at Iowa, at Northwestern. That's not and they're not back-to-back, obviously, but that's not easy to have to go across the country 4 times. A lot of these teams, especially on the East Coast, only have to go to the West Coast once. I know Michigan and Ohio State only have to do it once. That's very tough for Oregon.
How do you feel about Malik Murphy playing against Oregon in Week 4? Nervous?
I mean, some are saying biggest game of the year. Game
Some
day.
are. Some are.
Big noon. Fox Big Noon. Yeah.
Yeah. First thing on Dante Moore, you guys don't give him any credit for taking a year off, backing up Dylan Gabriel, and kind of hitting the reset button. Maybe growing a little bit as a player, as a person, coming back more mature.
It depends if you're an Oregon fan or not an Oregon fan.
Well, look, if you're an Oregon fan, you're telling yourself the talent's there. Sat a year behind a great quarterback, and Dylan Gabriel is now in the Browns. Like, he learned. We'll see. He came to Oregon, knew he was going to be the backup. This is the year. I'm with you guys, though. I'm not too high on this Oregon team. I think they're returning like 43% of their production from last year. That's 104th in the NCAA. I don't usually read off those for every team, but that stood out to me from a great offense last year that was number one in the Big Ten in total offense, averaged 35 yards a game. Evan Stewart's already out with that knee injury, probably for the entire year, I would assume. Other than that, they only have one other offensive starter returning, and that's their center. Wide receiver group has some veterans, but it's kind of that deal where it's people that have been in college football for a while but haven't been stars. You know, it's like, oh, this guy's a 3-year player from Florida State or wherever. I don't know. Their best receiver is probably their true freshman, DeCorian Moore. And then you got running back Mekhi Hughes from Tulane, who was good, not great. Their backup, Noah Whittington's back. I think this offense will be fine, but not elite like it was last year. As far as the defense goes, they were Dan Lanning's 32-0 when allowing fewer than 34 points. I think the defense will actually be
whoa. Read that stat again. Read that stat again, because that is absurd.
Per sources, Dan Lanning is 32-0 when allowing fewer than 34 points. So
that
you don't
is
talk about
absurd.
Dan Lanning as a coach, as an offensive guy. Yeah, there you go.
34 points.
Yeah, I know.
You dropped 21 in there. I'm like, okay, that makes sense, right? 28 points. Yeah, okay. You get to the 30s, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I know. But funny enough, I think the defense will actually be the strong point for them this year. Well, with Dante Moore at quarterback on the offense, I actually think the defense will be okay. D-line will be young. They lose a lot there. Overall, the first 4 weeks of the schedule do set up nicely, but people are already penciling them in for being 5-0 or 4-0 going into Penn State. They've got Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Oregon State. Sneaky, I think they lose one of those games. So I think they lose one of those first 4 games where people are like, oh, they're going to be 4-0 going into Penn State. I don't know. I think they drop one of those first 4 games.
I want to get in on this when it inevitably happens. It's because I don't want Connor to have all the credit. Me, selfish Dylan. At Northwestern. I don't like that spot for them. Can I
get in on Oklahoma State for that one?
Go ahead. Connor, you want to call your shot?
Alan Bowman's gone. Give me Oklahoma State over Oregon week 2. Put in the tickler file for the parlay.
If I had to choose one of those 4, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State as well. Nice. Cowboys.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's in Stillwater, right?
No, it's out.
Oh, it's in Oregon.
Yeah. But anyways, overall, I think there's a chance for one of those early slip-up losses. I think this Oregon team's probably 9-3, but 10.5 win total. Give me the under 10.5 all day, every day, twice on Sunday. I don't think they're getting 11 wins. And if they do, then crown Dan Lanning tomorrow.
Yeah.
Lots of travel.
I think Dylan nailed it, too. 10 wins. That's such a successful season. Even if it doesn't look pretty, if you somehow get to 10 wins this year. And also, I think, especially if you have a good defense, too, to show, hey, we don't have to give up 34 points in a game.
Yeah.
And we can win that way. Go ahead.
I think Dan Lanning is going to get unfairly treated based on how this season goes. I think you put the 10.5 win total up there. You have the success you had last year. I think people will see a 10-win season and still be upset. I think that's something to keep an eye on.
Really?
At the end of the year, I think so. I think people are going to expect a lot from this Oregon team, and we've touched on it. We've talked about it to an extent. I don't think those expectations are fair. I think people are going to be upset at the end of the year, even if they win 10 games. I think anything short of a playoff appearance, people are going to be upset. I don't think that's fair. I want that on the record.
I don't think that's fair at all either. So
look at us standing up for injustice where it lies.
Sharon Moore's Michigan Wolverines. Their win total is 9.5 at plus 140 right now on FanDuel. Bryce Underwood paying him $1 bajillion to play quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines. It seems like you got someone who can finally throw a pass this year. I want to start with Michigan real quick. They went 8-5 last year, including their bowl, and 7-5 in the regular season. Looking back on it and really thinking about it, 7-5 is kind of a positive thing in my mind for how disastrous the quarterback situation was.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Is that all you wanted to say? Did you want to keep going? I know you said you wanted to start.
I just Michigan couldn't throw the ball. I mean, you physically you guys, like the service academies were throwing, we're slicing and dicing compared to you guys.
Real quick, Dylan, going off that stat, I'll set you up here. 91st in total QBR, 131st in pass yards per game. I think that was worst except for service academies.
I was going to say we were pretty close to DFL for passing yards last year. Listen, I want to talk about what you said, Karter. 8-5, including the bowl game, is a huge win for given what we were considering. And I said it before, I'll say it again. 1-11, we win the Saturday after Thanksgiving. That is a winning year for me. You have a job for life as our head coach. And I will say it right now, if this ever happens, you can quote it, whatever. If Michigan wins a national championship and does not beat Ohio State, it does not count. I don't want anybody giving me credit for a national championship if we do not beat Ohio State. Period. That's it. I don't want credit for it. Listen, we're technically kind of the reigning national champions when you consider Ohio State won with 2 losses, the first 2-loss national champion in the playoff era. But you're exactly right. This Michigan season last year felt like a win. You had Davis Warren, couldn't throw a pass. You had Tuttle, couldn't throw a pass. You had Orgy, couldn't throw a pass.
Rest in peace, Orgy.
Did it feel like a win? Did it feel like a win during the season while it was happening? Because it kind of felt like I was being death by 1,000 cuts every time I watched Michigan football. Like, I don't know if it felt like a win in the moment.
It was. There were like the USC game felt like a win. The Washington game felt like a loss. If there's points, you see all these things happening. Davis Warren back. He's back with the team, and that's the kind of guy you want. Cancer survivor, knows how to handle adversity. You got Bryce Underwood that comes in, true freshman. It's like, oh, okay, how's he going to handle a little bit of adversity? Well, boom, you got Davis Warren right there who beat cancer. Right? You got J.J. McCarthy a couple years ago that cured depression by Googling it.
He did cure depression.
And it just came out he has ADHD. Do you know anybody that's dealing with ADHD on the level that J.J. McCarthy is?
Wait, J.J. McCarthy just got diagnosed with ADHD?
J.J. McCarthy just got diagnosed with ADHD. And he says he has a tough time dealing with the hyperactivity part of it.
Well, I think he'll probably cure it, right? I mean,
it sounds like it's just a simple Google search.
Yeah, I think it's a Google away and ADHD gone. Boom, all of a sudden.
Vikings under.
Or maybe Kevin O'Connell just gives him 30 milligrams of Adderall a day.
Sign me up. Sign me up. I'm in for that. No, seriously. As far as what I take away from this Michigan team, I'm not going to be hypocritical and sit here and say I am going to be super high on Bryce Underwood because we haven't seen him play. Typically, quarterbacks that I haven't seen play before, true freshman, transfers in, I tamper my expectations. I will say the small difference here is there's absolutely no way it gets any worse at the quarterback position. No matter who comes in, whether we see Mikey Keene transferring from Fresno State, maybe he gets the starting snaps. I don't know. Maybe Jaden Davis comes in and plays. There's absolutely no way that the passing game gets worse than it was last year. And that's kind of what I hang my hat on for this offense. I will say the offensive line is going to be very bad. It's not going to be good. It wasn't good last year. That's a slight concern. I do think the defense, you lose obviously 2 studs up front. You get Rod Moore that comes back from injury last year. You have guys, TJ Guy, Derek Moore's a great outside linebacker. You have areas where the defense is not going to be as good as it was last year, but I don't think it's going to take as big of a step back as people would say when you say, oh, you lost 2 guys in the first 10 picks of the NFL draft. So it's going to be an interesting season. I do want to keep in mind the bowl game last year. I think people quick to write off bowl games. Jalen Milroe and Ryan Williams played. And we played nobody, and we still beat him. So,
yeah,
I think that's a valid point.
That's great, but you made one point in there that I totally agree with. I think the win total is just I wouldn't bet it. It's a little too high for what I want to do, but
juiced. By the way, it was 8.5. It's moved up. Sharp.
See,
action.
I like it. I like it at 8.5. 9.5. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's tough.
I 100% agree. It cannot get worse. Yeah, I am worried about losing some guys to the NFL on the defensive end, but the passing game physically cannot get worse. You pay a bunch of money for Bryce Underwood to come in. It has
Clean
to get better.
money.
Good money. Big
Well,
money.
Clean,
Pretty
but
big
not
money.
Epstein money.
It is money.
Yeah,
Big
it's true.
money.
Big money.
Anyhow, 9-3 feels right for this Michigan team. Maybe even 10-2. I think they're flirting right there. I think they're flirting right there. I think they're going to be just fine. I think they're going to be a solid team this year.
We don't even know who's taking week 1 snaps for them.
It's going to be Underwood.
But Connor,
Well,
even
to end the year, it will be. But
even
to start,
even if
I don't
we
know.
even if we don't know who's taking the snaps, it's going to be better snaps than last year.
Well, yeah.
That's the thing. It cannot
true.
get worse. If they go from the 131st passing game to the 100th, I think that's probably worth at least one more win.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think 10-2 is a little steep. 9-3 maybe.
The
I
schedule's
don't know.
really not that bad either. It's Oklahoma,
No.
it's Ohio State, and then the toughest road game after that is USC.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point. Is the schedule is pretty favorable. So for a team with a lot of question marks that will be better than last year on offense, I think the schedule is probably the best you could ask for, especially in the Big Ten. And look, there's 3 transfers that are the only guys that had 200-plus scrimmage yards last year on offense. It's both transfer running backs, Justin Haynes and C.J. Hester, and then Donovan McCulley from Indiana. Those are the only guys on this Michigan offense that had more than 200 scrimmage yards last year. So it's a lot of unknowns. It's a lot of unknowns.
That's okay, because nobody had 200
Yeah.
yards anywhere last year.
The team didn't have 200 yards last year. Go ahead.
Can you pick me? Pick me.
Dylan, yes, please.
I do want to say something to that. Carter, you kind of beat me to it. No one really had 200 yards last year. Unless you were a running back, you didn't have 200 yards last year. But I want to look at Samaj Morgan, our slot wide receiver. He obviously took a step back last year given the quarterback situation. When he had JJ, he's an 85 rated wide receiver. So if I'm not saying these guys are going to come in and be JJ. We have our own opinions about JJ. But when you had a decently competent quarterback, he looked a little bit better. So I think we're going to see. I still think the goal is going to be the same, and it's very clear when you go and get Justice Haynes. Connor, little do we remember, I think that was your Heisman pick in 23 or 24. You had a sleeper Heisman
that was
pick.
Jace McClellan.
Oh yeah, you're right. Gosh dang, I thought I had something there.
Yeah, I know.
But I do think the offense is going to look better. The defense is going to take a step back. I don't think the defense is going to be. I mean, keep in mind the Ohio State game. Like, why am I blanking on? Will Johnson didn't play. Like, this is a secondary that I think is going to be fine. Defensive line, you have some holes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Cautiously optimistic, I would say 8-9 wins, and obviously you chalk in the win at the end of the year. So
I'm going to say 8-4, but it's more fun and it feels more like an 8-4 season than last year did. 8-4 is more fun.
Yes.
Yeah. And more to build on.
If they beat Ohio State, this team's winning 9-10 games.
Yeah.
Go on the schedule and show me the other losses. Washington,
No.
USC,
No.
Oklahoma, I might chalk in as a loss. They could be very good this year.
I'm a little worried about at Nebraska, if you want to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm
there you go.
I'm good.
Still feels like they're a year away, but that worries me a little bit.
I'm okay. But anyhow, all right, the Michigan Wolverines. Let's go to picks, and then we'll steamroll through the rest of the conference. How about that? Because we're running short on time. Underrated, Connor. Bad podcasting. Overrated, Connor. Who is your most overrated team in the Big Ten?
Unfortunately, I think we're going to have probably the same ones here. I'm going to go Oregon just because their win total is 10.5. It's just way too high with so many unprovens, especially with Evan Stewart out for the year. Do you trust Dante Moore after not playing meaningful football for 18 months like we talked about? The defense is probably going to be the strong point, and that doesn't really get me excited as a Ducks fan. I'm going to go Oregon overrated just because there's the 10.5 win total. I think that's way too high, so overrated Oregon.
10.5 win total is way too high on the Oregon Ducks. I am not a Dante Moore fan. Dan Lanning is a great coach. I think he has a chance to really showcase what he can really do this year. 10 wins for Oregon, massively successful season in my mind. Like Dylan pointed out earlier, Oregon is my most overrated team as well. Dylan.
My most overrated team in the Big Ten is going to be the Ohio State Buckeyes.
A yearly tradition. A tradition unlike any other.
And honestly, correct tradition every year. Just about.
I like it. I like it this year. I like it this year a lot more.
And we already touched on Ohio State, so I won't spend too much time. I think you have the quarterback situation with Julian Sayin, a highly touted recruit, but I honestly think if he was that guy, he would have been playing somewhere by now. You take losses just about everywhere. You have Matt Patricia come in and handle the defense. I don't like that. This is the first year that Brian Hartline is going to ever call plays for the offense as offensive coordinator. He's taking that duty from Ryan Day. Very interested to see how that goes. I'm going to hedge my bets here with Ohio State being the most overrated team in the Big Ten.
All right, there we go. Connor, who's your sleeper in the Big Ten?
This was a tough one for me. There's a couple I really liked, but my sleeper that I just don't hear a ton of people talking about is the Washington Huskies.
Ooh.
Oh, Karter, really? We're the same?
Yeah, we're just gonna have the same graphic.
Desmond Williams, I thought, I think I read he only had 153 dropbacks last year, but it was enough. He had 2 starts. He showed flashes. He had potential. And for a team in the Big Ten, which I think has, you can definitely say a top 4 in the Big Ten, and I'm sorry, Dylan, probably a top 3 in the Big Ten this year. I think anything below that could be classified as a sleeper. And if I'm choosing a team that can make some noise in the Big Ten this year, I want an exciting quarterback that has shown potential flashes and talent. And that's what Desmond Williams is. So I'm going to go Washington, Jed Fish. Let's see what we got this year with the Huskies.
Real quick, it's not Desmond Williams. There's no S.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Even last year when he was playing, I was like, Desmond Williams, Desmond Williams, Desmond Williams. That's a little Mandela effect right there.
Yeah, I had fun watching him in the bowl game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Washington. You look at the season last year. They go 6-6, and you go through the schedule. This is a schedule bet for me. You go through the schedule, and they got to play at Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, which I'm not that high on Oregon, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you got to play Illinois. So those are the top 4 teams you got to play in your schedule. Outside of that, you have 8 games that they will be favored in my opinion. And if they can knock off one of those big dogs right there, all of a sudden you're looking at 9-3, and you have leeway right there with the other 8 games. This is a schedule play for me. I like Washington as a sleeper. I think they could. I think they could even get up to 10 wins, depending on how you feel about Michigan, Ohio State, whoever. And I like Jed Fish as well.
Am I reading this correct? Last year, Washington had a perfect home record with no road wins.
Yes.
No concerns there in the new Big Ten. You got to go at Michigan. You got to go at Wisconsin. You got to go at Maryland.
Not concerned at Maryland at all in the slightest, to be honest. Not concerned about at UCLA.
No.
At Wisconsin, if they come off a nice win against Illinois, I could be concerned about the Wisconsin game. But is Luke Fickell even coaching at that point? I don't know.
That's a great question.
I'll get this off. I'll wait till we talk about Wisconsin later on. Dylan, who's your sleeper? Or underrated?
Underrated. Grant me some grace here, because this is going to be a stretch. I'm going to go Northwestern.
That's not unfair. I mean, the problem is you're betting their over-under is right now 3.5 at -190, and you like Preston Stone?
I like Preston Stone better than Brendan Sullivan.
Where's Ben?
I like him better than Brendan Sullivan. Listen, he had a bad year last year, but we look at 2023 numbers. We know the talent is there a little bit. Are we doing this as in winning the conference, or just because that changes my answer a little bit?
It's the same as how you felt about a kind of a Boston College last year. Boston College, I think their win total was like 3.5-ish.
It was low.
They ended up winning like 7 games or so. That's what we're talking about here.
Okay. Yeah, the Northwestern by far. This is a team that they're returning 6 defensive starters on the 45th rated defense last year. A lot of people slept on this defense. It actually wasn't that bad. And then you get Preston Stone that comes in that I think at least, regardless of what we want to say about Preston Stone, at least raises the ceiling from Brendan Sullivan. So this is a Northwestern team that I think is going to be better than what people expect. I think they're going to trip a couple teams up. A lot of people are going to see Northwestern on their schedule, be like, oh, check, W. I don't think it's going to be that easy. It's never fun playing in Northwestern, especially in October, November. I'm going Northwestern as my underrated team.
Okay. Connor, best bet.
This is well, let me get this off. I like Washington over 6.5 wins. It's crazy juiced right now. I think it's up to 7.5, so that's not my best bet.
I do like that 6.5 a lot, though.
Yeah, if you can find 6.5 in a reasonable number, I think Washington can go 7-5. But besides the point, this is one you're not going to like, Karter. I'm going to go Nebraska over 7.5 wins. Matt Rule, my mortal enemy. I know, and it's not even... it's not even really the Dylan Raiola stuff. I mean, the talent's clearly there. It's more a schedule thing. They only play 2 of the 6 teams that are ranked in the preseason coaches poll, and say what you want about the coaches poll, but they've only got, like, the schedule's not that bad. There's a lot of mid-tier Big Ten teams in there. I just think maybe year 3 of Matt Rule in college, because Matt Rule is a good college coach, objectively. I'm just going to bet on Nebraska to go 8-4. And that's all there is to it. I don't like it. As a Panthers guy, I don't want to back Matt Rule. Screw him. But, Temple Baylor had success in year 3. I'm going to go Nebraska over 7.5.
I don't hate it because it's a schedule play.
Yep.
But
and you got a quarterback in a conference like this with not a lot of elite quarterbacks. Dylan Raiola is, you cannot argue, like a top 4 quarterback in this conference.
My issue is last year, everybody was so high on Nebraska because of the schedule. The schedule was an absolute joke. And they still only went 6-6. Now I think you get another year of Raiola. That's better.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he can take a jump, but yeah.
And they get Michigan at home. I mean, that's a winnable game. I'm sorry, Dylan, but Michigan at home is a winnable game.
At Penn State,
that's the loss.
Iowa home. The schedule is just really favorable once again for Nebraska. So I don't hate it, but I do.
It makes me feel a little icky doing that, but that's what I'm going to roll with.
Well, if you feel icky about that one, you're going to feel icky about this one. That is, if you can get it, I got it juiced at 2.5. It's the Purdue Boilermakers.
Wow.
I got a juiced point total at 2.5.
So we've talked about Purdue and Northwestern before a lot of these other teams.
And that's okay because Barry Odom in. I love this UNLV team last year. Won me money a lot of times late at night when I'm chasing my bets. Thank you, Barry Odom. But they went 1-11 last year. 0-9 in the Big Ten. They were disgustingly bad. I think we can get to 3-9, fellas. I think we can get to 3-9 with this Purdue team. Because
I hope so.
This is another schedule play, and it all comes down to the first 2 weeks of the season. Now, it'll come down later on, but us Boilermakers, I wore the Purdue Boilermaker gear today. We can't lose to Ball State. We can't lose to Southern Illinois. And I'm saying we because if you're betting the Purdue Boilermakers win total, you deserve to say we. This is my team this
select
year.
Few.
Now, do I believe in any of the talent they're bringing in or what they're doing? A lot of it's transfers. A lot of it's unknown. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to tell you I know what's happening with the Purdue Boilermakers because I don't know any of these transfers, how good they're actually going to be. But I do know Barry Odom is a damn good coach. The quarterback seems to be Ryan Brown, who I guess was at UNC for a minute, and then Bill Belichick came in and was like, nah, get out of here, buddy. And then went back to Purdue.
He was there for a few weeks.
I think we might see 6 quarterbacks for Purdue this season at this point. I don't know. But you're giving me 3 wins? I think this all comes down to, look, Ball State, Southern Illinois, I think we're 2-0 going into the Big 12, the Big 10 at that point. Notre Dame, that's a loss. I know that's non-con. It's not a great schedule, but we do play. Us Boilermakers, Dylan, I think both of our win totals might come down to October 18th. Purdue versus Northwestern.
Ooh.
We might have to go to this
KarterKast
game.
Bowl. The KarterKast Bowl.
Was that on Big Ten Plus Network, Big Ten Extra?
Subscription only.
And a key thing here is Northwestern still playing at that weird soccer stadium right on the lake where it's like fake bleachers and all that stuff. Purdue versus Northwestern in late October. I think I might need to attend this game. I might need to start going on Google Flights and looking at flights. We might need to go to this, Dylan.
October 18th?
I think we might get a credential for this one.
They're probably going to be handing them out on the street.
All field access? Heck, they'll let us play a snap.
But yes, I'm going Purdue. This is purely a schedule play. Purely, they can't go 0-9 again. And that's all it is. Dylan. Best bet.
Best bet. This is going to be a beautiful graphic. Ohio State under 10.5 wins. Made us rich last year. There's never a doubt. Everybody knew this was going to cash the entirety of the season. Look, this is a worse Ohio State team. Maybe a tougher schedule than last year. I mean, you have Texas. That's going to be a toss-up. Penn State is going to be a tough game. You almost have to count them in for a loss at Michigan. and then you're just hoping they slip up on one of those other spots. I'm looking here. At Illinois is not going to be easy. So there's plenty of spaces for this Ohio State team to mess up. I've already talked about why I'm not a huge fan of them. I hate them. I don't think they're going to be that good. I'm going under 10.5 wins for my best bet for Ohio State.
I love it.
Realistically. Well, never.
Go ahead.
Never.
Realistically.
Texas, Illinois, Penn State, Michigan.
There's
no way. There's no way they don't lose 2 of those games.
I'm with you 100%. I love the under 10.5. Yeah.
The other best bet I was looking at, the only reason I didn't want to do it because I felt like it was too chalk was Penn State over 10.5. But I feel like everybody's on that, but I just don't see. I honestly don't see a world where they're. I definitely don't see a world where they're less than 10-2 unless Aller gets hurt or something.
Yeah.
11-1, it seems like a really good bet. It's just a health bet at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah. Conference winner, I did Penn State earlier. I don't love it. Kind of wanted to get cute with it. Go a different team that we'll talk about in a minute. But Dylan, who's your conference winner?
I went Penn State. We talked about them already. Just the most consistent team. They have the most variables that I think have stayed the same and are still good. I actually took them to win the national championship too, 8-1.
Connor.
Yeah, this is going to be the game day graphic. I'm going Penn State here. It's also a play on the rest of the conference as well. I don't love Ohio State this year. I don't love Oregon this year. Michigan's probably a year away from making any noise to win the conference. It's Penn State's year. The stars have aligned. James Franklin, Drew Allers last year, both backs returning, 4 O-line starters back. I know it was a meh pass blocking unit, but great run offense. Get Jim Knowles in a defense coordinator. I think this is Penn State's conference for the taking, and that's my conference winner.
I love it. Let's get talk about these second tier teams. I feel like Michigan probably should have been in that second tier, maybe, but
we'll make an exception for the show, Carter.
Yeah,
I think they're better than these other teams, in my opinion. I also give me credit for last season. Before the season, I said Michigan's going to be Iowa football. They were literally Iowa football. 8-5, couldn't pass, no offense, great defense.
Cancer survivor. So
Cade McNamara. Going to Iowa, bring the Michigan
Alex Orgy.
I missed him last year.
Yeah, I bet you did.
I missed him last year.
Let's go. Let's move on. USC real quick. Lincoln Riley, 4th year at USC. The over/under 7.5, -160 on the over. Pretty juice right now. Jaden Mayava took over for Miller Moss at some point last season. He's back at quarterback. Their top games are at Illinois, Michigan, at Oregon, at Nebraska. This is it for Lincoln Riley, in my opinion. Look, you don't have to go to the college football playoff. You don't have to win 11 games type deal. You got to win. You got to be something. You got to be a 9-3 team and show why you're getting a private jet and you're getting the keys to the city of Los Angeles.
Is there something we don't know with this USC team? Like, is Jaden Mayava like some elite quarterback behind the scenes that we're not aware of? Because it seems crazy to me that in a year as important as this for Lincoln Riley, that's who he's hitching his wagon to. They didn't go pay somebody $1 million bajillion in the portal. I mean,
they might not have the money.
Well, what did he play? 4 games last year? I think 11 touchdowns, 6 picks, and 4 starts. He looked okay, but that's the guy Lincoln Riley's hitching his wagon to. I don't know. There's a lot of wide receiver turnover. The talent is still there, but they lost 3 great wide receivers. They brought in some talent, but lost 3 great receivers, and they only signed 16 transfers. I don't know. In today's day and age, this USC team is going to be a lot of the same, and I don't love that. If you don't have a top 5 quarterback in this Big Ten conference this year, I'm not going to believe in you very much. So 7.5, sure, they could go 8-4, but I don't see anything more than 8-4.
Dylan?
Offensive line is going to be a huge issue here, and that's kind of where my concerns lie. I think everything you guys said is kind of on par. 7-8 wins seems right, but it does feel like Lincoln Riley, time to get something going, right? It's been a couple years.
But is this the year he's going to get something going? I feel like no.
No, I don't think so.
It feels like now or never. And
but I do
you also
think,
got Notre Dame on the schedule.
How much of the benefit of the doubt is he given with Maeva coming in, who wasn't he probably was supposed to have Miller Moss this year. Do they cut him some slack? I don't know. I feel like time's running out.
The thing is, this plan to start him started last year when Miller Moss got benched, I feel like.
Yeah, and then also, can you afford Lincoln Riley's buyout? I mean, it's going to cost a gajillion dollars once again.
Lincoln Riley knows that too.
I think this could be potentially disastrous season for USC. Let me paint a picture real quick. Let's say things go south for USC. They end up going 5-7, 4-8 type deal. Really bad season. They get Lincoln Riley out of there, and then he just ends up being an offensive coordinator for somebody in the NFL and looks great as an offensive coordinator for a year, maybe 2 max, and then goes and gets paid a crap ton of money to go coach another team in college football.
I would say you're not painting a picture. I would say you're looking into a crystal ball.
No,
that's what I would say, Karter.
That's what feels like it's going to happen.
Does Karter know ball?
Sounds like it, but that's what it feels like. I mean, you talked about the offensive line, not great. The defense, it's a Lincoln Riley team with a defense. Now, I think Lynn at defensive coordinator did a much better job last season, but also, I will say I think he got a little too much credit because he was taking over for Alex Grinch. And I think I'd look good after the season with Alex Grinch. So I think they're fine. I think 7-5. If I'm a USC fan, I would just want to be done with the Lincoln Riley experience and just move on and figure out something else and not be paying this coach so much money. And
it feels like it's run its course.
It really has. And so nobody's in on USC this year, it sounds like.
I'm out.
Nope. All right, then let's move on. Let's go to Iowa. Now, the Iowa Hawkeyes, they are who they are. We know this. It's Iowa football. I believe their win total is 8.5 according to FanDuel Sportsbook.
I think 7.5.
Is it 7.5? 7.5
plus 136. Yeah.
So you bring in Mark Gronowski from South Dakota State. This is the question. Look, the defense, they kind of lost a lot on defense, but the defense, it's Iowa. It's going to be solid. I honestly am not worried about that. It just comes down to, are we going to see the worst offense in football again?
No, I don't think so. At least it's exciting. I mean, I know FCS level, but they won 2 national championships, didn't they? I think South Dakota State won 2 national championships.
He
FCS.
Looked good. Yeah. I watched the highlights. I'm not going to pretend I was grinding all 22 of them.
Right.
I did watch the highlights in preparation for this. I liked them, but it is Iowa football, and I think something just happens where, like, you get sworn in and you have to pledge an allegiance or do something when you walk onto that campus where you say, I, no matter what, will not be able to throw the ball, and I will not be an exciting player once I walk onto this campus because when you talk about the football team, because, I mean, we just never have a good offense in Iowa. It's just
no one in Iowa's drunk driving, getting in car accidents, though. I mean, it's kind of what you get. You might not have an exciting offense, but your whole team is together for the whole year.
Take notes, Kirby. Iowa, here's the thing. He threw for 10,000 yards at South Dakota State and ran for 37 touchdowns. I think it'll at least be more exciting. It has to be. And I don't know how that, talent jump off from the FCS all the way up to the Big Ten with a lot of great defenses. How's that going to look? Maybe not perfect, but I think it's going to give Iowa a chance in some of these games. So we'll see. I'm excited to see what the Iowa offense looks like.
8-4 for Iowa for me, penciled in.
They're going to be better than last year. The defense is still going to be good. I think they get an improvement at quarterback. I'll be in on Iowa this year.
I'll join you.
They were 8-5 last year, 8-4 in the regular season. I mean, are they worse? Maybe
I don't think so.
A little bit, but I think the quarterback upgrade alone is that much more. So, I looked at them. I was like, man, this would be a fun one to say. I'm taking Iowa to win the Big Ten. I can't go that far.
I was gonna say you would regret that. I think a few weeks in.
I do want to take one of these lower end win totals, but this team is too sexy right now, and it's the Illinois Fighting Illini, 38-1 to win the Big Ten. They are the sexiest team. Whatever we were talking about Nebraska last year, Illinois is getting all this juice right now because Luke Altmaier had a solid season last year. They're bringing a bunch of dudes back. They are everybody's darling right now, Dylan. Shout out Jagan.
Shout out Jagan. Shout out Dad. It's interesting because we talk about them being the darlings. They're 40-1 to win the conference,
which is interesting.
Yeah,
but everybody's in on them. I feel like with their win total.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's what, 7.5. Like it's a shockingly low win total given how people are talking about this
at
team.
plus 150, but you might be able to find a 7.5.
It's shocking to me that it's getting this much traction and they're ranked number 12 in the coaches poll, and that yet the betting odds are still so behind. This is actually, if we had a sleeper to win the conference, this is my pick at 40-1 because you do get the consistency at quarterback that you don't get hardly anywhere else in the Big Ten other than Happy Valley. You return 9 offensive starters, 7 defensive starters, and this was a pretty good team last year. Like, I think this is a team. It's sexy. Normally I'm the one to zig when everybody's zagging, but shout out Jagan, shout out Dad. Illinois to win the Big Ten at 40-1, not crazy. I actually like that a lot.
I like the sprinkle.
They'll trip up Ohio State like that, and that's not an Ohio State hate thing, but I think that's going to be a real issue too.
In the Big Ten, I think there's so many quarterbacks that are either young, inexperienced, or first-year transfers. And so to have a guy like Luke Ogmeyer who's started multiple years at the same program in this Big Ten.
And gotten better every year.
Valid, yeah. And I think that's a huge win because if you look at the list of quarterbacks, depending on how you feel about Raiola, is he the second best quarterback in this conference?
Yeah.
Probably.
I think so.
I'm
Raiola, or you're talking about Altmaier,
no,
right?
Altmaier, yeah.
I mean, you can't bet on anybody else.
I don't even think it'd be crazy if you said he was the first.
Oh.
I really don't think that's crazy.
And I don't think it's crazy if we said it by the end of the year we said he was the best.
Oh,
I think I think that's fair. And look, Illinois, you're right. Sexy pick. I think they lead the conference in returning production. Offensive line gets a lot back. They do lose a lot at the skill positions. Their top rusher and top 2 receivers are gone, but defense looks pretty solid from what I saw. Yeah, I mean, Illinois 9-3, 8-4. I think that's fine. I'm not going to get on the crazy hype train to pick them to win the Big Ten, but I think they'll be in the conversation. I think they'll be in the conversation for most of the year.
You look at the schedule. It's at Washington, Ohio State, USC, at Indiana. You know what the big game on their schedule is? It's week 2.
It's week 2.
It's in Durham, North Carolina. They got to play at
game of the
Duke.
year.
You know what?
Let's go to that one,
right.
Carter. Let's go to that one.
You and Jagan come on down. We'll go to Duke, Illinois. How about that?
Deal. We're in.
It's at Duke.
Yep.
It's at Wallace Wade.
Wallace Wade.
Noon kickoff in September might be rough here in North Carolina.
Hot.
Yeah,
that's tough.
I feel like that might be a rain game, though.
Little humid game. The mosquitoes are out. Oof.
Yeah, it feels like that's going to be a game where you're just like, man, it's just pouring rain, and people are slipping with the ball. Final score is a weird number, like 22-18. But open invite. We'll go to Illinois Duke. I'll put it on my calendar.
That'll be fun.
All right. Well, I like Illinois a lot, especially when you dive more into the schedule and everything. I get why they're the sexy team. I just always get worried when it's then the sexiest team and the most hyped up quote unquote sleeper going in. But anyhow, Nebraska, Connor, you kind of touched on them a little bit. I'm just not a Matt Rule guy. They're 39-1 right now to win the conference. Quickly, talk about Nebraska.
I don't think they're going to win the conference, but I think we talked about the quarterback situation a lot in this episode. I think with Raiola, the talent is clearly there, and for whatever reason, happened at Baylor, happened at Temple. Year 3 of Matt Rule college football coach teams usually takes a leap forward. They were really overhyped last year, and they fell off. You said they were 6-6, right? Yep. I think this is maybe the year where things come together for Nebraska, at least to go. I think 8-4. I bet their win total. So 8-4, maybe a 9-3 with the big win in there somewhere. That's what I'm looking at for Nebraska.
Dylan Raiola doing the Patrick Mahomes impression stuff. I know people are going to get Nebraska fans listening to this will probably get annoyed that we're talking about this, but I thought about this the other day. Who would be like the funniest, like, you know how like Mike Kobe was kind of doing an MJ impression during his career a little bit. What if there was just like the worst player in college football was just pretending to be Tom Brady, or they like what if this goes super south for Nebraska this year? He's awful and gets benched, and he's still doing the Pat Mahomes stuff.
That would be funny. Social media quarterback.
Man, I'm trying to think of a good one.
I'm not gonna lie, like I the term is kind of stupid, but he kind of does aura farm or whatever you call it.
Oh, don't even act like you don't know what aura farming is, Carter. Are you kidding me?
No. I know what it is. Wasn't great at pronouncing it. That was the
Aura
issue.
farming.
Aura
We need
farming.
to start
yeah.
aura farming on here.
Dylan, I think you do that every
I'm
time
gonna
we talk
say
about
Dylan.
Ohio State.
Yeah, Dylan, what are you talking about here?
He gets
Clip
that
farming.
smirk on his face. He's like, Texas isn't scoring 10 points this week against Michigan.
But yeah, Nebraska. You talked about it before. The schedule is very favorable, and 8-4 kind of feels right. But we are not a Met Rule podcast. Indiana, 46-1. Dylan, are you believing Curt Cignetti? He's trying to make the headlines in these media days. He's canceling games against the ACC. He can't even
Alabama's
play
doing it.
Virginia.
If Alabama's doing it, we're going to do it. Listen, I love the moxie that he brings. I think it's fun. It's good for us to talk about. I'll keep it short. Not as high on this Indiana team as I was last year. That was kind of my calling card in the Big Ten was Indiana had like a 5.5 win total, and I was like, they're going to win 10 games. Not as high this year. Mendoza,
8.5. 8.5 win total.
That's
yeah,
high.
that seems like a lot. I'm going to pass on Indiana this year, but I do enjoy the Curt Cignetti. You want to talk about aura farming? You want to talk about clip farming? Curt Cignetti's clip farming.
Clip farming.
You're looking at it right now. Fernando Mendoza was fun in a late night ACC game. I don't know
He
how
was
I feel.
fun.
Yeah.
He was fun. I don't know how I feel about him against Big Ten defenses though.
Yeah,
Yep.
he had 3,000 yards last year, 18 scores, but you're right. It's more that, Pac-12/ACC late night type of deal where he's an exciting, fun quarterback. You play a really good defense week after week. I think it's going to start to take a toll. I'm under on this Indiana team. I'm not completely out on them, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like last year. Doesn't feel like last year is going to be replicated.
I would not. The non-con is just disgusting. Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. And then they kind of have a sneaky little gauntlet of Illinois at Iowa at Oregon.
That's 3 tough games. I mean, they got both receivers back, Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper from last year. I think they got some good O-line transfers in, but I think Mendoza is kind of the fun quarterback, but when you need to win big games in a Big Ten and a grind it out like 13-10 type of game, that's not the type of game I don't think Mendoza will perform well in.
Shout out Hemby from Maryland, running back. I do like him, but yeah, I'm not in on this Indiana team either. Curt Cignetti, kind of hilarious how he is. We talked about Washington a little bit. Do you want to add anything else to the Washington conversation right now, Connor? They're 50-1 to win the Big Ten.
It's more of a bet on just quarterback Damon Williams. Not saying Desmond anymore. Mandela effect there.
It's
just
actually
what I saw.
Demon
Williams. I'm just gonna say D. Williams Jr. No, more of a potential bet. Exciting flashes I saw at the couple games last year he played. Defense was horrible last year. He had no offensive line protection. It's more just a bet on potential, and I like the Huskies there. I think they'll be fun, if not pretty good.
And maybe the best home field advantage in the country, according to Dylan. If you do it by numbers, can't lose at home.
There you go.
That's fair.
Can't lose at home. Michigan State, Jonathan Smith, year 2. They're plus 11,000 to win this conference. Their over-under is 5.5. I believe that's what it was last year, too. Minus 138 to go over that win total. Aiden Childs.
Says Aiden Childs.
Aiden Childs is back. Connor, we were both in on this Michigan State Spartans team last year with the win total over, and that was some of the most painful football I had to watch last year. It was... I cannot believe we got to a point where we actually won money on that bet.
I agree with you. It was just awful to make it an appointment to watch that team last year and sweat that out. And I'm going to be the first to say I'm not doing it this year. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it this year, Karter.
I kind of want to. I'm not going to because I don't want to have too many win totals like I did last year that I bet on. But Aiden Childs, man, I can't. I can't with him. Not another year. Look, there could be a nice leap. There could be something. That was disgustingly bad last year.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Real quick, interesting note. The offensive line, they do improve it in the transfer portal, which I like a lot. Their offensive line was not good last year. That's why we saw Childs running for his life and turning over the ball like none other. So that's a small bright spot. I will say it is Michigan Minute. I mean, Ohio State's now little brother, and Michigan State's like little third cousin twice removed, which is great.
A couple times at the family reunion.
Yeah, maybe once a year. Christmas, maybe. That's all I got.
Not even a stepbrother?
Nope. Not really going to invite him to birthday parties, family birthday parties probably, but you'll see him at Christmas, maybe one of your Thanksgivings. Maybe.
All right, that's fair. This win total solely comes down to week 2 against Boston College.
That's some electric week 2 matchups we've seen. Big
Did
Ten
they play
versus
Boston
ACC.
College last year? A little home and home.
Yeah,
They did.
Yep, and that was big for all of us, and we needed both teams to win.
I got bet the over on that just blindly because the 2 teams that were in it last year.
I think we did. I think we lost money on that.
Yeah, I think we did too.
Anyhow, Michigan State. Yeah, I like Jonathan Smith, but I don't know about this Michigan team. Minnesota, PJ Fleck.
Minnesota.
I texted you guys. I said the most useless thing I will say on this podcast today will be that Minnesota not that bad, 7-5, not going to be bad this season. That's just what they are. That's all I got. Quarterback has had 5 career pass attempts. They returned Darius Taylor at running back. Minnesota football is Minnesota football. It's a slightly worse version of Iowa football.
There's some sludge at the bottom of the conference as far as quarterbacks goes, I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh, it's disgusting. But yeah, 7-5 sounds right.
Running back room will be strong. Defense will be strong, I think. Just question mark at quarterback.
It's that simple. I'm not even seeing their win total up on FanDuel right now.
I got you.
I don't see it either.
But
6.5 minus 200, 7.5 plus 130 at BetMGM and DraftKings.
Yeah, that sounds right, and I will stay away from that because I don't want to watch Minnesota football this year. So.
Crazy. The bookmakers have it right. That's wild.
Crazy. Wisconsin's a team I want to talk about real quick because they're plus 15,000 to win this conference. Luke Fickell 5-7 last season. Luke Fickell, this is my prediction. What's going to happen with Wisconsin this season? Luke Fickell is going to go 5-7, 6-6, whatever. Bad season, underwhelming season. He gets ran out of town. He gets fired. Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati also gets fired. He goes elsewhere. Luke Fickell makes a return to Cincinnati and does very well.
Home.
Crystal ball again. Crystal ball Karter.
Luke Fickell will be the head coach of Cincinnati in the next year or two, in my opinion.
I don't hate that. I can see that.
Because I just don't see it with this Wisconsin team. Do you, Dylan?
No, I don't. Nothing nice. Ricardo Hallman transferring in 4 interceptions last year. Not a bad defensive piece, but this isn't a team that's going to make waves.
You got to go to Tuscaloosa in the non-con? What are we talking about here?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough.
And you're looking at the win total. It's to make a bowl game, it's plus 140. I'm out. I don't think Luke Fickell makes it another year in Wisconsin. Somehow, it just ended up. He was like the most shoe-in hire of all time, and it didn't work out. Somehow, someway. But anyhow, this conference is way too big, Dylan. You got to talk.
Way too big. They're all this size now, so let's maybe
Yeah, but like
I would say talk to your people about the Big 12, but unless you're saying something nice about them.
Nico at UCLA, Dylan, any thoughts?
1 second.
I'll go here. I don't know. I think it'll be fun. We'll have some exciting moments, but is that going to translate to wins? I don't think so.
Oh, Dylan's bringing out something for all the audio listeners. 5.5 win total plus 124.
I can't rip it. It's my Nico lay that I got from Tennessee last year. I can't rip it. It's quality, but yeah, Nico's dead to me. That's all I got.
Oh, you're done with Nico.
Well, yeah, I'm done with Nico. He left my team. He left. He held us ransom for millions of dollars and then left.
Yeah,
him and his dad.
Not a big fan of UCLA coming into this.
Unfortunately, he's probably a top 5 quarterback in the conference.
I don't. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I think maybe.
You might be right.
Quickly on UCLA, the only thing I will give them, they don't have to play Michigan. They don't have to play Oregon. It's kind of a nice little layout for their schedule. They do have to go to Ohio State, but that's fine. Okay, Rutgers. Any thoughts about Rutgers and Greg Schiano?
No.
I'm opting out. I'm opting out.
We're opting out of
this.
Rutgers.
We're getting into putting on the VR headset territory.
Callie McManus isn't doing it for you?
No. 1,800 pass yards last year. Pass. I don't think the defense will be bad, but nothing crazy.
We already talked about Purdue and Northwestern. We don't have to go into those. Maryland, to close things up. Once again, Go back to the ACC.
Come home. Come home. You belong. Maryland, you belong.
We would be talking about them like, I sneaky like Maryland this year if we were doing this in the ACC
They're
preview.
a sleeper. What is their win total? Their win total is 4.5 right now in the Big Ten. What's their win total in the ACC this year? 6.5 at least.
6.5. Yep. Even though I don't think
So funny.
I think that this is kind of a down Big Ten, to be honest.
I think it's all down. I think college football is just down, though. Like, not down, like, the top is down.
We'll talk about the SEC.
I sure hope so.
All right. Well, that's it. We went through all the teams. If you want Purdue Northwestern stuff, go back to our best bets. That's all we had on those teams, and it wasn't much, but anyhow. Make sure to subscribe, rate, review, at KarterKast on everything, at Connor_Sparrow, at Wilkerson, Dillon, at CarterB8. Download SeatGeek, use code KarterKast, $20 off your first purchase, $50 minimum purchase required, terms and conditions apply. KarterKast at SeatGeek, download SeatGeek app today. We'll be back with the SEC preview. If you haven't checked out any of our other previews, go check them out on the YouTube or on audio right now. ACC and Big 12 are out as well. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see y'all next time.